Hey guys, and welcome back to Recaps Annie. Today we will be doing a recap of this strange but extremely interesting romantic anime called Love Flops. Let's start. The story revolves around a young boy named Kashigawa Asahi being late for school and rushing out. On the way to school, he runs into a pretty girl named Aoi. She drops a white cloth on the ground, and without noticing it, she gets up and apologizes to Asahi and proceeds to leave. Asahi finds out that the white cloth dropped by her is actually her panties. He continues his journey and gets on the train, where he sits next to a woman named by Mongfire with huge boobs. She falls asleep on his shoulder, causing him to panic, and he accidentally grabs her boobs. Unpleasantly shocked by this, she kicks Asahi. This makes him cautious, and he decides to get off at the next stop after apologizing to her. He continues to school when suddenly a blonde girl named Karen falls off the stairs and lands on top of him, revealing her panties. She gets upset at him and runs away after hitting him in the balls. Later on his way, he is again accused by yet another girl for stealing her undergarments. This girl is named Amelia, and it turns out that it was actually a robot that stole her undergarments, but she is unaware of it. After all of these strange encounters, Asahi is again met with a situation where a dog is seen humping a boy named Ilya. The dog notices Asahi and decides to harass him as well. All of this causes him to be even more late. Finally, he reaches his class and sneaks into it, but he is caught by his new teacher. It is revealed that the new teacher is none other than the woman he met earlier in the train. He also finds out that all the girls he ran into while on his way to school are his new classmates. Later, Asahi finds a letter which is calling him out after school. During the day, he bumps into Aoi again and gives her the panties that she dropped. This embarrasses her, and she leaves after slapping him. After this, he meets Karen in the cafeteria and apologizes to her, which she accepts. Right after this, he notices Ilya again being harassed by the same dog, and in an attempt to save him, Asahi injures himself. This leads to him being taken into the infirmary with his new teacher by Mongfa. She apologizes to him for attacking him earlier in the train, and Asahi seems to not keep a grudge for it. Amelia walks in and Asahi gives her the bra he picked up, and she apologizes to him for the misunderstanding. After the school, Asahi follows up to the place mentioned in the letter, where he meets Aoi, who confesses herself to him. A breeze of wind blows and lifts up her skirt while Asahi tries to give her panties back. Unable to focus on what Aoi is saying, Asahi shares to her about what he just saw. This makes Aoi run away out of embarrassment. Right after this, Ilya also confesses to Asahi, and while he is doing so, suddenly Mongfa comes running and drags him away into an alley where she starts kissing his neck. She explains that these people were working for someone who was trying to woo her. She also confesses her love to Asahi. This scares Asahi, and he decides to run away when Karen bumps into him. She is dressed as a bride, and she tries to force him to marry her, but he manages to escape her as well. Later on his way, he is met by Amelia, who tries to trick her into signing on a marriage form, thus causing Asahi to run away from the scene once again. Upon reaching home, he discovers all the girls and Ilya waiting at his home to greet him. It is revealed that Asahi's father arranged all these girls and Ilya so Asahi could live with them for some time and eventually pick a partner out of all these. Asahi seems to be unhappy about this situation, but decides to let them stay at the house. A few days later, Aoi and Amelia get into a little tussle about who will write Asahi's name on the omurus with ketchup. Amelia tries to be the one who writes it, but she fails miserably. This reveals that she is really bad at kanji. At school, the teacher informs them that they have a kanji test in the upcoming week. Amelia states it is not a big deal. Later at night, when Asahi is looking for Amelia, he finds her practicing her kanji for the test from a porn book. After looking at this, Asahi decides to teach her. The next day after school, he takes her to train her in learning the language. After continuing their study for a few hours, Asahi tells her that it's time to go home, but she insists to stay a little more. Asahi explains to her that it's okay if she is not good at kanji and you can't be perfect in everything. This angers her and she leaves. Back at home, Amelia decides to stop eating food and locks herself in her room to show her anger towards her inability in Asahi's language. Asahi walks in her room and cheers her up with a handwritten analog that he prepared for her. He expresses to her that he feels good about her trying to learn his mother language. This gives a huge confidence boost to Amelia, and after a few days, when the day of test arrives, Amelia ends up scoring good in the test and finally being able to write Asahi's name on the omurus. The next day, all of them win a lottery prize and they are given a free vacation to a hot spring inn. Upon reaching the inn, Asahi decides that the girls would stay separately while him and Ilya will stay together in one room, as both of them are boys. Later, it is revealed that Ilya is actually a girl as well, and he has been acting to be a boy as it was his father's last wish to have a son. After dinner and an interesting ping-pong battle in the inn, the group decides to enjoy the hot springs and bathhouses in the inn. Asahi takes off his clothes and states that it is okay for Ilya to be naked around him too, as they are both guys. The fear of getting caught forces Ilya to conceal a tengu mask inside her towel, and she holds it up the whole time, making it look like that Ilya has enormous genitals. This impresses Asahi, and he accepts that Ilya is probably more manlier than him. After the sauna, Ilya walks out to get some fresh air, but as soon as he steps out, her towel slips down and flies away with a blow of wind. On the other hand, Emilia and Karen build up a ladder on their side of the wall in order to sneak into Asahi's side of the hot spring. While Ilya is trying to get back her towel, Asahi walks out of the bathhouse as well. With no other way to cover herself, Ilya decides to put the tengu mask on her face and scares Asahi and the girls away. She quickly covers herself and walks back inside, but slips over a soap, revealing her naked body to Asahi. After a while, she wakes up on her bed next to Asahi. He apologizes to her for not realizing that she is a girl and treating her like a guy. Ilya reveals to him that she was fulfilling her father's wish and apologizes to Asahi. She also reveals her true name, Irina, and continues to cry and expresses that she wants to live her life as a normal girl too. Asahi supports her decision and encourages her to come out as a girl. A few days after returning back from their vacation, Asahi is surprised by a human-robot hybrid by the name of Colonel Sanders, waiting for him in his bed. He kidnaps him and ties him up on a bed, stating that a brilliant woman is wasting her time on a brat like Asahi, and he is being used as a bait to lure her in. After a while, Miss Monfa comes to rescue Asahi. This confuses Asahi as to what she is doing there. She hands over a vibrator and bottle of lotion to him to use as weapons in case they encounter any enemies on their way to escape. Asahi and Monfa are faced with several enemies before escaping, with Monfa showing extraordinary fighting skills and beating her enemies. Soon she is faced with Colonel Sanders, who reveals to Asahi that Monfa is actually an ex-undercover agent by the name of Bloody Tiger. She killed Colonel Sanders' team a few years ago, and now he is back to take revenge from her. This shocks Asahi, but before he can respond, Monfa and Sanders engage in combat. Monfa manages to trap him in alloy wires and tells Asahi to escape without her, making him go a separate way. She manages to escape the building, but once she is outside, she is once again faced with Colonel Sanders, who managed to set himself free from the wire trap. After an intense battle, Colonel Sanders manages to grip her down, but before he could finish her off, Asahi comes to the rescue. Sanders tries to get a hold of Asahi, but when he tries to grab him, his robes comes off and a whole lot of lotion is dropped onto Sanders' robotic body, making it malfunction. This gives Monfa an opening to finish him off, and she manages to defeat him with the help of Asahi. After the battle, Miss Monfa confesses to her being an agent in the past, but she states how she was forced to be in that life and now she wants a change and is willing to live a peaceful life. Asahi accepts her and asks her to stay with him in his home. With this, both of them set off to return to their home. The next morning, Karen and the other girls discover Asahi covered in lotion and sleeping on top of Miss Monfa. This makes everyone jealous as they yell at them to separate from each other, and the anime ends with this scene. We hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Recaps Annie for such amazing content in the future. See you next time.